Hey folks, Chris McLean back again, and in the studio today I have with me Michael from Pinnacle Online Marketing. Out what this defined roadmap is and learn more about Pinnacle marketing. Michael, thank you so much for swinging by, mate.
G'day, Chris. How you going, mate?
Very, very well. So take us through Pinnacle. How did this start? How did you reach the pinnacle of online marketing? Did you have an agency background, or did you sort of just fall out of the sky and stumble into this, or how did it come about?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much did just sort of fell into the industry as some people do. So I was in the automotive industry for years, and went all the way. Did pretty well. Went from a trainee to general sales manager and running the dealerships. And I did that pretty quickly. And the whole time we're always up against, so I'm down here in Australia, obviously, and we're always against Sydney and Melbourne with our dealerships. And we were sort of rural. So we had to find a way to actually compete with these guys. And we started marketing online, doing some different things, and really I sort of immersed myself in learning that side of it because I could see that there was a way to push ourselves into the future and actually get a result. And we did pretty well. But then all of a sudden our competitors and other businesses started seeing what we were doing, and I was getting inundated with messages and emails asking for help and asking if I can consult to these other businesses and so on. Right. And a lot of them were local businesses. They weren't just car dealerships. And so all of a sudden I started this little consulting business on the side, and I was really enjoying helping these small businesses get going. And, it's, I was doing it on a Sunday evening, and I was doing sort of 3 hours a week. And in the space of sort of 6 weeks, I built it to a 10K a month business. And I was just doing that, and I thought, wow, okay, I need this. I'm really enjoying this. There's obviously money here, and my clients, well, I didn't really see them as clients at that stage, but they were. They're getting great results, so I might sort of immerse myself. So I put down a figure on a piece of paper, and I think it was like 17K or something. And I said, if I can hit this as a 17K per month, doing this as like a side business, I'll leave and I'll go full time. So I thought it was going to take sort of 6 months or a year to do. I did it in sort of 6 weeks. And then I thought, okay, well, I pulled the pin, and that was so I went full time September 2019. And then obviously we all know that what happened next. So down here in Australia, we got hit with bushfires really bad. So lost a lot of clients there as some of them just closed down. And it sort of slowed us up a bit. Then there was floods, and then all of a sudden COVID.
It was a pretty wild 6 months at the end of 2019. It was
one thing after another, and it was just like, I didn't chase any automotive clients. Most of my clients were high ticket. They were all finance brokers, real estate agents, security companies, a lot of kitchen renovation companies and builders as well. So I was really enjoying it. And then all of a sudden, April 2020 comes around, and the phone starts ringing, and it's literally, you could nearly say it was the auto industry at my door. Like literally in the space of 2 weeks, I think we had like 15 or so car dealerships reach out to us in 2 weeks and say, Michael, we know who you are. We've been sort of watching. Can you help us? So we went through a massive growth period really, really quickly at that point. Then got nominated for a few awards through the Social Media Marketing Institute, Best Emerging Marketer, Best Small Agency we got nominated for, and a few other things as well. Best Use of Facebook, I think. And all of a sudden we just started growing. And, the age-old thing sort of got to a point where I was sort of a bit behind in my planning of the business because I was so focused in it. So where we are now and what it looks like, we're really trying to only really deal with the automotive side if we can, but we still take on a lot of clients. So this week we took on 3 other clients that weren't in the auto industry. We've really got 2 offers. One's a high ticket, and then one's for a let's just say a general car sales consultant or a real estate agent, we can help them out as a low ticket, sort of helping them along, because we're getting inundated with messages from those guys. And I sort of sat back for sort of 2 weeks and I planned out how we actually get results for everybody, and, came up with, developed our unique mechanism and our roadmap of how we get our clients results. So it's the Pinnacle lead gen blueprint, and we use that coinciding with unique authority positioning. So each of them have the 2 roadmaps of what we have to do when we bring on a client. So then that way it's replicable and scalable. We can bring on our team and we can sort of copy and paste as much as we can to scale. And, the last few months, I'd say probably September onwards to now. So the last sort of 6 months or so has just been huge. And, it's even getting to the point where other agency owners are reaching out, asking for help, and we're sort of positioning ourselves as sort of the real authority in the automotive niche. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Awesome story. So going back a bit, what do you think? I mean, the dream for most agency owners is to have the phone ringing and people just ringing up saying, "Hey, I need you. How much money can I give you to come and help me?" When you initially had that first surge of people sort of chasing you, what do you think it was that you did? Was it you sort of had that marketing position and people coming to you and say, "Look, we've heard about you, we know about you"? Was it because you were known in the local industry and you were there was a word of mouth and network and it was kind of small, or what was it? Social media presence? What do you think it was? Have you sort of pinned down what it was that you were doing that led to that growth?
Yeah, it was probably a lot to do with, social media presence within the industry, not just locally, but globally. But also the type, I didn't really realize what I was doing at the time, but now I've sort of, figured it out like to a formula, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I was literally just throwing out value and trying. I came from a place of really, at that time, because of what was happening, I just wanted to help people. So I was doing free webinars. I was interviewing like that many local business people from different industries, and then saying, tying it back to how that can help other industries to what they're doing and succeeding. And, I just came from a point of like, okay, well, my whole thing when I was in the auto industry is that I've got to be mayor of the town, so then everybody knows who I am, so then they can buy a vehicle off me. So I sort of took that analogy but online, to the point where, okay, it's sort of like my duty to help all these other business owners, position themselves and actually make it through the other side of what this pandemic and what's happening at the moment, bushfires and all this other stuff that's just happened. And I sort of felt a little bit of a duty to it. So looking back on it now, I didn't mean to, but there was a big purpose about what type of content I was putting out and the angle of what I was putting out at that time. It was really from a point of helping. It was value-based. It was informative. There was no sell in it whatsoever. It was literally at the end of every post, "Hey, if you need any advice or whatever, here's my details. Reach out. Like, I'm here to help you." And, doing that in the different circles and so on, word of mouth gets going. Social media is a small world, as much as we like to think it's a big, bad world. We all sort of hear of the same people in the industry, and, it snowballs.
Yeah. I think particularly, so when you're quite niched down and you're sort of you say you're in the auto industry or the finance industry, and you get known as sort of the authority, or just a guy or girl out there in the world trying to help people and bring in value. Without, I think you've really hit on something there with it. You were genuinely just out trying to help people and add value. So we have this conversation quite a few times on the show that adding value now is a bit of a marketing tactic, right? And authentic content and all of that stuff is now a tactic, right? It's a technique and a tactic more than I'm just genuinely here to add value. So I think that's really important, that you actually you're actually coming to the market from the point of view, look, I'm just here to help, and you're sort of tapping into that law of reciprocity.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? If I help you and you need help, and I've actually helped you move the needle on something, maybe you'll either refer business to me, you'll give me a call and say, look, I know that you're doing this stuff. I know you can help. Hey, I need some help. How can we work together? And that certainly seems to have worked with you. Is that in hindsight, when you sort of reverse engineered that process now, that's how you were coming at it from? It wasn't a tactic. It wasn't a strategy. It was just genuine, heartfelt, here's some people that need some help and I can help them. So let me throw up some content that's going to be useful for them.
Exactly. And like when I look back at it now, so we still, as I sort of mentioned before, we sign a lot of local clients because of where we are. A lot of local businesses just see us as the marketing agency. So they come on board. So even though we've niched down locally, we have a lot of high ticket different industries. But looking back on what you just mentioned, it was sort of like I didn't realize at the time what I was doing. I was literally, just trying to help. But then when we went through the growth and things settled down, what I was doing wasn't working. And we sort of went through a stagnant stage of sort of 3 to 6 months. And looking back on it now, it's because I was trying to sell. It was because I was trying to jam our services and products down people's throats, if that makes sense.
Right.
And it was, it was a complete wrong way of doing things. It was just, so I sat back and I sort of thought, okay, I reverse engineered everything to, okay, how have we been able to grow up to this point? And why aren't we doing it now? And it was just purely that from the angle of where we went to. So the next sort of kick on that we did, I thought, okay, well, what's happening at the moment? All these people being laid off within the auto industry and finance industry and so on, and real estate industry, it's all slowed up. So, I started doing some webinars and so on, and they started getting traction. All of a sudden, you're getting 5,000 views on a webinar, and people are inboxing and saying, hey, you need to sell this. So I thought, okay, well, let's just see if people want to pay for our info. So we just put a $49 USD fee on it, and literally it didn't slow down. If anything, it was getting shared around more. So I thought, okay, well, we've obviously gone back to what was working. We've just proven it. People are paying for it for a small fee. And it was sort of like a longer form VSL at that point as well. What we're doing. Look, we haven't. Yes, we've used paid ads, but it hasn't really been part of our lead generation source. I'd say we've probably gone through 2 points of using paid ads to the point where I've then gone away from it because what we do sort of works and how we grow, we've sort of figured it out. So it's a lot of it is organic. It's just nurturing relationships and maximizing and helping each other. So it's good.
I think that building community and having those natural organic conversations is really, really powerful. Where do you tend to nurture? Is it a Facebook group? Is it an email list? Is it a bit of both? How do you build community around what you're doing?
So as I said, not coming from a marketing background has probably done two things. It's probably hindered me and helped me. I probably stand out a little bit from some of the others because I'm a little bit unconventional from what some of the other marketers do. But at the same time, it's sort of hindered me because a lot of the times I've had to change things as I go, or I've been a little bit behind. So I think the best thing I ever did was obviously invest in mentors and bring myself up on that side of it. In terms of nurturing relationships, what I was doing, it was the old form, behind closed doors, inbox through to a Zoom call, and then from there on, it's what value can I give you in return. So it was sort of like that sort of thing. As I said, a lot of bulk webinars and things like that. But now, obviously, I'm just building out our own community with a Facebook group, which we have two. One of them is just for people in our industry, just to hang out, share ideas, what's working, what's not, help, those guys that are struggling from sort of 0 to 15K a month, get them going and what's working. So in that way they can learn off other people's mistakes. And then the other one is, the auto industry group, which is, it's definitely going, it has been a little bit of a focus, but now we're ramping it up and it's definitely going to be a focus moving forward. And as we've built the team out as well, we've been able to just scale what we're actually doing.
Yeah, I think that tends to be, if there's any kind of trend or insight that I've sort of seen in doing 50 plus of these shows by now, is that number one, build a community, have kind of an off platform, or at least a space that you own where you can have those authentic, real conversations with people that need that advice, whether it's auto traders or real estate or marketers or agencies, somewhere where you own, where you can build and have that network, have that mastermind. That's super important. Then also on the back end, having a way to convert that into sales. Obviously, as a business, you want to be able to convert that across into a paid customer at some point. So what does that look for you, that sort of back end of the business? Where if they've seen your material, what are the actual processes? Are you running Facebook campaigns? Are you running full service digital? Are you running particular platforms? What's that actual campaign engagement look like for, say someone in the auto industry?
Yeah, so basically we have two different levels of what we do. As I said, one of them is more for the dealership as a whole, in which case we basically we really concentrate on socials through paid targeted lead generation, but then pre and post purchase lead nurturing as well by SMS, email, and messenger and ringless voice. And basically what we do for our low, I call it low ticket, but our sales consultants who want to come on board and help out the individual, we basically give them access to their own CRM with, pre and post purchase follow-up, and we build them out a chatbot template as well. So, and that there's just a subscription product that we charge them per month. And then they can just plug it into their own ads and whatever. We just do one onboarding call with them, set up their back end of Facebook and say, okay, for this to work, this is what needs to happen. Here's your video, here's your training video. Away you go.
Right. So really you're giving them a platform and some education, but they're essentially then educated enough to run it themselves or run it with their internal teams.
Yeah, so basically for the sales consultant, they should be able to run it themselves. If not, we do offer, we offer support on the back end for training and so on, just to get them set up and going. In regards to the dealership, it's a full done for you in terms of the targeted lead generation side. It's a done with you with organic content as well. So we've got obviously virtual team helping out with that side of it. But obviously there's a big difference with the two offers in terms of what we're actually doing, how time invested we are with each type of client, and the overall, I suppose, the cost for the client as well, it reflects that.
Yeah. I mean, if you're on the ground, done with you, done for you type services, where you're literally slotting in and becoming their marketing team, and delivering them either booked calls or sales or. So what is the sort of end result of that? Are you handing over a calendar of booked calls? Are you taking the sales calls as well? Are you on the conversion side?
What we're basically doing is getting them through to a qualified appointment for a test drive or a finance application, basically. Right. And that we're getting great results at the moment through chatbots, being fully transparent with a lot of what we're doing. In regards to that as well, we don't just stick with one facet of lead generation. We've obviously got the the follow-up and the nurturing there as well. And we do run different types of ads, not just messaging types of ads. But the end result of what we would like to go to a car dealership, motorbike dealership, whatever, or real estate agent client is basically, here is a qualified lead who has been appointed into your diary. This is 10 pieces of information about the lead. They're ready to go. They're coming in at 9 o'clock. It's up to you.
Yeah. So handing over someone who's pretty ready to at least have a conversation.
Exactly. And if they're not ready through our qualification, they're just put in for nurturing. So we're looking after that lead until such time that, they're hot and they're ready to go. So if a lead's not ready to transact with our clients within the next 6 weeks, we don't push them through. So if they've got to be sort of ready to pull the trigger, if they're looking at doing something within the next 2 weeks, we push that through straight away. Like what I've found is one thing that a lot of marketers get wrong is that if it's a hot lead, they try and get too much information and they can turn that lead into turn them right off that product or service. Right. One thing that I've found is that the quicker you can push them through a process, if they're ready to go, the higher the conversion rate. So
they just get them to the dealership, get them
in there as quick as possible in front. We do qualify them, but we try and make sure that, that process from inquiry to going in the dealership is as quick as possible.
Yeah, right. So not going to run them through a 37-step application form, right?
10 quick questions, bang, get in, get out. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be great for your client, where they're just getting essentially warm to red hot leads that are saying, I want what you've got.
And that's the age-old thing where you get a lot of businesses say that social media advertising doesn't work and Facebook advertising doesn't work. And it's because either they've done it themselves through, boosting posts, or they've run a messaging ad and all it is ask us about our product or whatever. And they hit the wrong audience. Their offer's wrong. The actual lead qualification there is none. We might get leads coming in for a client for, $6 a lead, but 1 in 3 of them is going to be decent. So it's, you got to weed out the good ones and what's actually going to provide an ROI for your client.
Yeah. And when you're talking about a car purchase, you got there's a bit of leeway in how much you can pay for a good lead, right?
Exactly right. It's, if we can provide a client, we've actually provided one of our clients 90 sales in 1 month from what we did. And, when the average GP, they came back to us, was about, $1,300 a unit overall. That's a fair bit of money right there for them. So
when you're paying, you'd pay a few $100s for that lead and still you pay $1,000 for that lead and be pretty happy.
Exactly right. And some people say, "Oh, the lead cost is blown out." It's like, okay, but how much are we potentially going to get out of this? Let's just we're on the right track. Let's read the analytics. We're hitting the right numbers. Everything in the past says that we're going to do well here. Let's just persevere and we will get an ROI.
Yeah. And particularly, like I said, when you're talking high ticket product, and then you're also looking at lifetime value, right? The lifetime value for an auto when you put in servicing and repairs and the next car they buy and trade-ins, and the lifetime value is much more above that original sticker price. So
and that's probably one thing that set us apart from the rest. And I think it's probably been a lot to do with me actually being in the industry. When I look at a marketing campaign for a dealership, I don't just look at for the actual sale of a vehicle. I look at the overall profit of a dealership and where they can actually make it. So, we're making sure that we're doing custom audiences based on their database at the moment for service ads and for service drives. We're making sure that, like, at the moment, stock is extremely tight. Nobody can get stock. So we're actually creating offers for the dealerships for drive-through valuations with minimum trade offers. So if you sell your vehicle to us, we will guarantee you X amount towards a new one. Like whether it's beat up old bomb, or whether, you know what I mean? And so we're coming up with all these different things to try and help them get stock where they can buy vehicles off the street. So we're not just looking at it for the point of like the actual sale of a vehicle, but the overall business as a whole. And we've looked at that with a couple of other businesses that we look after as well. And, you know, it's sort of surprising that a lot of marketers get single-minded about where a business earns money. But if you actually really look at it and break it down and market to that point where, and do lead generation to the point where actually the business does bring in revenue and create the ROI for that business, the results go through the roof.
Yeah. I love that thinking. And so, a lot of people, you think about a car, well, I'm going to just sell the car, and that's what I'm focused on. But the back end, as you said, the servicing, the trading, my wife now needs a car. My daughter needs her first car. That lifetime value over 5-10 years. If you're looking at the total lifetime value of getting a good customer, really important. If you can, as you said, love that you're helping businesses think about how they can actually extend their offering.
Exactly right. We do the same with, you know, finance brokers. So we split their clientele up into a couple of different audiences. We split them up into automotive clients and then obviously mortgage brokers. And then, you know, we're making sure that we're taking this list and we're marketing the automotive clients, we're hitting them with mortgage ads and vice versa. Yeah, right. So in that way we can get the crossover. They know this brand, they know this business. Let's maximize the result.
Yeah, amazing. I guess that's the great thing where, again, you've got a portfolio of client base yourself as an agency, and you can start to sort of map those audiences together as well. Yeah, really, 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 really cool insight, man. I love it. If people want to find out more about you, are you operating globally? Are you operating locally in Australia?
No, globally. Yeah, we've got clients all around the world. So reach out. You'll find me on Facebook. Facebook, Instagram, online, website. Reach out. Always happy to connect with more people.
Awesome. So I'll drop those links in the show notes as always, but you can reach out to Michael on Facebook, or pinnacleonlinemarketing.net is the website. You can go and find out all the good stuff that they're doing. I guess whatever industry you're in, but particularly if you're an auto trader and you want to start maximizing your marketing dollars, hit up Michael, hit up Pinnacle, and get going. Really appreciate you stopping by, mate. It was very, very, very insightful, and a lot of stuff that you're doing is really critical, foundational stuff, and really good insights for the other agency owners out there on how they can sort of extend their business and help their customers extend their business to really understand and tap into the significance of that lifetime value.
Thanks, Chris. Cheers. It was it's good. It's and as I said, it's for agency owners out there, like, just as I say, just stick to basics, don't overthink it, and stick with what works. Stay away from the tiny stuff.
We can overcomplicate things a lot. Can definitely overcomplicate things. Just find what works and double down, triple down, quadruple down on it, and get it done.
That's it.
Good advice. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks, Michael, so much for stopping by. It was a really great episode. I enjoyed it. Hope you all out there enjoyed it as much as I did and got some value and insights. And until the next one, we'll see you then. Thanks for dropping by. Cheers, Michael.
Thanks, mate.